Welcome in Line by Line. Today I have Sally as my guest. She brought in a song by Sonny Rhodes, The Ballad of Serenity from Firefly TV show. Sally, why did you pick that song?
I'm interested in cultural phenomenon and memes and science fiction and the cross between science fiction and philosophy. And I've noticed even people who aren't interested in sci-fi, if that song's being played, they'll really read into it or lean into it, like they're feeling it. And the reaction to that song, the way I see it, is the same as a lot of people's reaction to church songs. And why is that? And why do we connect with Space Cowboys? Because that's what the show that the song is for is about. And yeah, so that whole thing. So I decided to do this song.
I love the show, actually. I recognized it and awesome. Do the honors.
All right. Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me.
Yeah, that cuts.
Trying not to be an egocentric American, but the first thing I think of when I hear the land and personal ownership are very associated with individual liberty, especially for Americans, especially out west, which that's the whole Western theme in the show, right? Is that freedom. And I have made correlations before that the little spaceships are similar to homesteads because all of your means of self-sustainment can be held in that, and they're fragile like that. So take my land, and like that's not just your freedom, but that's everything your family's built, that's your history, that's your past, and it was going to be your future. So it is all of your circumstance. So take my circumstance. So take my love, take my land. It's like, man, those are both the same things and just one's attached to a place. Take me where I cannot stand. To me, that's like all surety is gone. But it works well with the space metaphor because you can't stand there. There's no gravity. So that's really fun to me. I don't care. I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. Those lines together to me mean I still have hope. Because if you're free and you're pointing to something higher, so free and the sky, I still have hope and you can't take it. And I'm reminded of the Gulag Archipelago somehow, but I can't pin down why exactly. But I am. Because, yeah, hope is not something actually that can be beaten out of you unless you let it. I mean, they can kill you with it, but they can't actually take it from you. And so, I mean, the physical metaphor in the song, in the show, that the sky is where you still have opportunity outside of anything you've ever built, because of hope.
The Gulag Archipelago. If you're sent to Siberia and the living conditions are extremely harsh, you can still look at some point, if they let you, at the sky. Like I think they had even half an hour of walking under the sky.
Well, and you can keep the sky inside. Like it's about the higher thing. You know the existence of the sky, regardless of if you can physically see it or not.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
I
that one.
thought that here he was dreaming about the sky, about going into stars. And it is in a sense that our dreams connected to hope, right? Like one day I will be up there with the stars and you can never take it from me. can take everything from me. But the fact that one day I will be there, back with the stars, you can never take it from me. That's my projections onto here.
Take me out to the black. Tell them I ain't coming back. Burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me. The black and the sky being put together like that, it's that combinatory explosion that Peterson talks, like too much, the pathlessness, because in the sky there is the black, right? And so that is where there be dragons. Like that is the space that is unmapped, and then hope is in it. And tell them I'm not coming back. So I'm not returning to what was. I'm not returning to my love and my land. And burn the land and boil the sea. And that's all sustenance. That's everywhere you've ever had a meal from, every place you've ever took a drink from. Burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me. Even without those things, I'm holding on to hope.
Exactly. Yeah, we have this unbreakable spirit, which not everybody checks in with, but it's worth it in a sense, right?
I particularly like the physical imagery of burn the land and boil the sea, because you can talk about hope and you can talk about despair, but if you're in a circumstance that doesn't allow you to see it physically, it's hard for you to really comprehend it. So that's the wonder of the illusion of sci-fi and fantasy, to give you the physical imagery without the destruction that allow you to really comprehend. You might not comprehend someone else's grief at losing a country or a multi-generational land or something that their family built, like a business, but you can understand, regardless of how you grew up, you can understand the devastation of burn the land, boil the sea. It's a beautiful, beautiful line because of its grief. And yeah, I don't know that I could stop going on about it sometimes. And then to put that back to back with "You Can't Take the Sky from Me" is it's funny to say a song is visually stunning, but it's very visually stunning, which is probably why it hooks me.
We can imagine burning lands. We all have seen forest fires.
Yeah.
We all have seen water boiling and bubbling up and making this whole steam thing. So that is visual, and it is attached to our actual experience. So that's what it's like. I think in here, like analyzing the first two stanzas, unbreakable spirit in face of, like he can't do much in here. He can't protect himself. It's like, okay, the only thing I can do right now at this point where you're taking everything from me, everything.
Or his love. That's the first thing. And I kind of jumped over it because I get attached to it. But yeah, it's a man that can't protect what he loves. And that's the peak of sorrow.
Yeah. He still has hope. He still knows that the sky is there. It always will be there and nobody can take it from it. So he finds his kind of grounding in the sky.
Serenity.
In there.
Serenity. That's because there will always be new opportunity out there. And it's the serenity. Yeah. It's the serenity kind of Job. Because Job didn't have it when his family died, when his friends scorned him. But he did get it all back the reply. I like to think about Job's wife, his first wife, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
ugh, fuck it, because she died, right? He got a new wife, but sometimes it's important for the story. You had to have that for the story of Job, is like to lose an entire family and not lose hope and confidence in creation. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. You cannot take the sky from me.
Next lines. Leave the men where they lay. They'll never see another day. Lost my soul. Lost my dream. You can't take the sky from me. So in the series, in the show, Serenity is a ship, and it's after a civil war. And yeah, leave the men where they lay. And that's, we've lost, because anyone who's been to battle or had those kind of idealistic notions is you take everybody home. And this is past that. They'll never see another day. Lost my soul, lost my dream. The lost my soul, that's an anguish one. And it's funny because you don't. You feel like you do. So it's all right as a song lyric, you know? It wouldn't be all right as a sermon. But it's all right as a song lyric, because you lose parts of yourself.
I think when he says lost my soul, soul is somebody he loved. He lost a person whom he called his soul. So there was a person in his life who was kind of graceful, like the soul. It is an expression in a foreign language I speak, that
Okay.
the significant other is your soul, in a sense. Like, it's not your actual soul, but it is your significant other, somebody who you love. So it is about grief.
Yeah.
Even though he's grieving, he lost that significant other. That's my projection here.
Yeah, we like we say my better half or pieces of myself. Like I really think that pieces, like who you are with the people that should be around you, is very much different on who you end up as if you're not paying attention to that. I certainly notice it about myself. I am significantly better people with my preferred cohorts usually than without them. And it's one of those humble things it's hard to accept, because you'd like to think you were yourself by yourself, and you really aren't yourself by yourself. You're a fraction of what you could be by yourself usually.
Yeah, there are people who remind you of the better version of you. You will call them either heart or soul. The people. I have a projection here, though. Leave the men where they lay is, I think, like a practical kind of. Don't put your energy in the to where another person doesn't need it anymore. It's practical, it's also humane. They don't need it anymore. They don't, like, it's you may be needed, but they don't anymore. They're free. It talks a lot about this inner freedom. When he says, I lost my dream, this means he had that significant other in his life, and when he lost that significant other, he also lost the dream of the future with that person. This means he dreamt of a thing with that another person.
Yeah.
And the only thing is left is the sky to be out there. It is heavy. It's actually really strong.
But that's the contrast that makes it beautiful, and the gentilizing of media, and the gentilizing, or just the irreverence, because You can use the word death and not mean it and just be silly with it, and you don't have the real stark contrast, and the leave the men where they lay is stronger than every bro, they're all dead, like all of these kind of. I don't hate rap, right? But there is that irreverence, the solemnness in this to talk around it is stronger. Which I'm sure you could use modern diction and still accomplish that, but it's not. I don't see it happening much. So that it's an interesting thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the black reaching out. I hear its song without a doubt. I still hear and I still see. You can't take that sky from me. And I think that is the temptation to nihilism. And he's acknowledging that he sees it, and then he acknowledges he still exists. And then he says, no, you can't take hope. I feel the black reaching out. I hear its song without a doubt. I still hear, I still see. You can't take the sky from me.
Yeah. Hope is fighting for the light inside, even though the dark is actually reaching out, it's looming. He still hears, he still sees. This means he sees beyond the song of the darkness and reaches out for the sky. That's beautiful. Again, hope.
Well, this is the wildness of the space metaphors, right? And I think part of the romance of science fiction is space is simultaneously the sky and everywhere that hope is, and the black, where there's complete despair and really nothingness. It's both of those things. And that is opportunity itself, because in opportunity itself, there is the black and there is the sky, and they're happening at the same time, completely interwoven, and you have to pick.
I absolutely have a projection here as well. So the darkness is the realm of possibility. It's absolutely unknown. Very often, abyss is referred to as chaos and darkness. And in here, I feel the black reaching out. I had a song called A Light, which would talk about me reaching out to the darkness for help. Actually, for help in creation. Darkness is a realm of possibility and opportunity. It's not always darkness, it's the unknown. And if you mix the unknown with the hope, you will get a creation from it. And if you will mix it with light, the creation will be divine, actually. So here in this stanza, it's the most hopeful one so far. We can find out later.
I didn't realize that, but I think you're correct, because that's what I'm talking about, the high contrast. Yeah, this is a very high contrast song. Okay. Also, I think black is easier to rhyme with than the universe, but that's all right. Lost my love, lost my land, lost the last place I could stand. There's no place I can be since I've found serenity. And you can't take the sky from me.
Yeah.
And that's throwing in the last place. So he didn't replace his land, didn't replace his love. There's no place I can be since I've found serenity. You can't take the sky from me.
I, as a foreigner, understand that serenity is acceptance here. Like I'm accepting all of that thing that happened to me, but you still cannot take the sky from me. I still have that thing. It's extremely hopeful. I lost, like he admits it, I lost everything, including the love that I had inside, dreams, anything I can build my grounding upon, but you still cannot take the sky from me, which is ironically his grounding.
Yeah, maybe. Well, and if you make the sky your ground, that's like living in the kingdom of God, because you'll be better off. Which it's that's strange, right? When I listen to the music that typically goes with it, it's this Western music, and it's all these string instruments, and there's a role to that is always about traveling, it seems like, in Western music. I've noticed it matches the gallop of a horse a lot of times, and I was listening to try and find that, and there's these little things in the music that go up, and it just makes me think of people climbing hills or climbing ladders. And I'm not enough of a musician to discuss specifically where that's happening or how that's happening, but there's these 10 to 15 seconds between these long cutting lines that are soothing. And it's like seeing the grace in life, I think. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Sally. Actually.
This is just a visual artist, terrible in ability to talk about the way they see music in their head, because I almost can't go to concerts because it's very overwhelming and it's too loud and stuff. It's not that I don't appreciate music. It's just I got a lot other going on in my head when I listen to it, and it can almost be like stressful. But that soothing role, and I think country music gets a bad rap because it has a rhythm that is attuned to one way of living that not that many people are getting to embrace. But kind of opposite is like the same, and opposite is true of urban music. When you're in the rural is almost, I don't found that I couldn't understand it until I lived in cities. And when I lived in cities for a while and they moved very quickly, I started to be able to appreciate urban types of music, because that very fast pace, I was like, oh, well, that's life. And then, but when I went home, like, you don't want that necessarily when you're not there. And I think different genres connect us to these different types of life. And I think putting this space song to a modernly older thing, which, like, oh, West isn't that old, right? But the frontier music fits the space frontier idea for a reason.
I love that song. I love the TV show, and knowing that actual song talks about hope in face of losing everything completely, and still going and discovering the world. And yeah, Firefly is a TV show about the cowboy in the sky. It's very often was called Western in space. Actually.
Yeah.
Although he's pretty practical. He's like he'd like shoot and ask questions later. He just shoots and doesn't ask the questions at the moment. Like that's how I see him. Love it.
Yeah. I actually think the attitude of the Serenity cowboy is more accurate than the cowboy in some westerns.
Practical. Yeah, the dude is practical.
Utilitarian is like what will work. That's the
Exactly.
only thing I'm for, because I mean, I don't have the backup of the government or the backup of the monarchy or the backup of, you don't have, like, when it's just you
Yeah.
have to get practical or you just die and there's no songs about you.
You have to be practical. You have to stand with your both feet on the ground
Mhm.
for the world to advance, to move forward. Sally, did anything new came up while analyzing this song today? Or just like projecting our own stuff all over it?
I've thought about the song a lot, so it's hard to see if there's anything specifically new. I think I paid better attention to the love and the location of a man, and I think I spent more time thinking about this song as a man, which it's important to do that. The just whitewashing the difference in genders is not actually good. So the lost my love, considering that from the perspective of being a man who is a soldier, that happening, I hadn't thought about that before, and that gives it another depth. Like, it already had depth, but it gives it like another depth. So that was new. But the choice to look to light when you have the option to look to black is, that's the summary of the song to me, and you can't take that choice. And I think that's why this is up there with church hymns. And I really wanted to pick a church hymn, and I could not pick one. And so I spent a long time not deciding. And that's why I've ended up with this one, because I think we needed the modern language, because we're speaking psychologically, we're speaking with new metaphors. There's nothing about the New Jerusalem that clicks right now with the masses the way that space and the black and sky click. And I wanted to talk about something that is a shared dream, even if it's a shared space cowboy dream. I had experienced Firefly and Serenity privately, the way a lot of people experience media, privately. And then one of the only times I've went out to a place playing live music, in maybe it's the only time in a decade I went out. But I was there and the band started playing the Serenity song, and then the whole room knew it. And it wasn't just me who knew it. And then I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it, that I wasn't alone in being that enamored with an idea. And I think that's when I really started paying attention to the cultural effect of TVs and shows. And I think we should be more careful, because there's a lot of media that doesn't have this reverence for hope. And I actually think that's one of the reasons that Serenity got canceled, was because I think it was too good. And it couldn't be controlled, and it just panicked people. I think the metaphor of space and the metaphor of what that could be, the way the cathedral ceiling was used.
Yeah, way up there, basically.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful summary, Sally. I love it. Well, thank you for bringing it today, and thank you for having free time, which is accidentally the sponsor of all of the Line by Lines. Everybody, please check out all the links I provide below, how you can follow Sally, like, subscribe, all of her media will be down there. Please check out her YouTube channel and art. Support her. Bye.
The most liked comments on the song, if anyone gets nosy, you know, just shoot them. Shoot them politely.
Exactly. That's a practical cowboy.
If you can't put in a well and you can't grow trees and you can't feed yourself and live there, you can't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dreams are so bizarre that I decided not to judge other people's dreams. Like, I was like, okay, look at your dreams, Kara Nodrik. So,
Probably,
honestly,
but we as a species have
yeah, totally.
very
Like,
a good judger of dreams since forever. Sometimes I wonder if it was a waste of my life.
no experience is a waste of your life. No, even the worst experiences, they are meant to be there, and you got the knowledge, you know.
I'm trying to bring it all together. I've never integrated very well. So hopefully it's the professionalism and the art and the idealism and the being a wild cowboy descendant could all become one thing.